Hello everybody and welcome back to the Creature Flesh Workshop. Now it's been a pretty long time since we've made a video, but we are back. We've got some really cool projects we're going to be working on, but today's project is going to be a little bit different. One of my closest friends has been asking me to make him something for quite some time now, and it just so happens that in a few days he's going to be getting married, so I thought what better time to make that thing for him. And that thing is a pair of Riddick goggles. Let's go. So this should be a pretty straightforward project. I've already got my friend's face cast from some previous projects that we did together, so that really helps. I've also got these various different pairs of sunglasses of different sizes. I'm not quite sure which size to use and which will be best at the moment. And as always, I'm going to be using monster clay to sculpt these goggles onto our life cast. First thing I want to do is try and get these lenses out of their frames. Now looking at the different types of lenses we've got here, I haven't taken these ones out yet, but I can already see that I think by looking at the reference images we've got over here, this one is probably going to be a better fit. I think they're definitely too small. And a lot of this is going to be hidden inside the kind of area around those lenses anyway. And as you can see, it pretty much covers the eyebrow. I think that's probably the one. Okay, that was definitely more challenging than I thought it was going to be. We've got our primary form all sculpted out there and kind of smooth, so we can start adding our secondary forms on and doing a bit of detailing. And I think the main reason I'm finding this pretty challenging is that I'm so used to sculpting organic and flesh and skin and all that kind of thing, where you don't need to have straight lines, you don't need to have perfect forms. Whereas because I'm sculpting something that's supposed to be man-made in maybe a factory or by a machine, it's definitely a challenge. But we're well on our way, so let's start with our secondary form. Okay, that's our secondary forms pretty much done. We've got a few more tweaks here and there. We've used a little bit of lighter fluid or naphtha to smooth out some of those lines and edges. And now we're going to go in with some finer, some tertiary details. So some of them finer, smaller things to really kind of finish it off. I think I've added all the details that I can see from the pictures so far, but I think it kind of needs a little bit more. So I'm going to take some artistic license and add a few more little bits in there that I can't see, but I think we'll add to it. So we are done with the goggles, the front part. We need to now do the back strap that goes around that kind of fixes both sides. We're gonna do that piece separately so we can put it in a flat mold, which make it nice and easy to mold. And then when we can cast it, we will stick it onto the front piece so it will then be one whole piece that will stretch over the head. Now again, there aren't that many great images, or reference images anyway, of these particular goggles. So again, I'm gonna have to use some artistic license and kind of make it up as I go along. I'll try and follow along that style and we'll see how it turns out. So it's time to make a mold of these two pieces. We've got a strap here and we've just built a little simple clay wall around our goggles just to hold in some of that plaster. Talking of plaster, that's what we're going to be using for our mold. We're going to go old school, we're going to go simple, just using some plaster of Paris with some water, nothing fancy. We're not using epoxy, we're not using silicone. We just want a quick and dirty mold that we can then cast one of a pair of these goggles out of. It is the next day and we've given our molds a good bit of time overnight to dry. So we need to get them out, see what they look like, and then cast them in some silicone. Okay, that was all right. Demolding is definitely not my favorite part of any of this, but these two actually came out all right. There's a few air bubbles in the strap, but that's okay. Nothing we can't fix after the fact. But the actual goggles themselves seem to come out pretty nicely. I can't really see any air bubbles at all. And it looks like it's captured all that detail that we added before. So the next thing to do is to fill it with some silicone and wait until that's done. So we're going to be using some EcoFlex 0030, so nice strong silicone. Probably not the ideal silicone for what we're doing here, but it's the only stuff I've got. I haven't got time to get anything else. In our little flat mold here, I'm just going to lay in some of this power mesh. That's going to give it a little more strength because this is going to stretch over his head. So we want to make sure that that's sort of nice and strong because this is going to be quite thin. And then we've got our goggles mold here that we're going to fill with the thickened silicone. So it's been around 4 hours, a little bit longer actually. That's about the time that this particular silicone needs to fully cure. So let's get them out of the mold, see what they look like. This is the satisfying bit, but also the pretty terrifying bit as well. Coming out nicely. Remember, this bit has our piece of power mesh inside just to keep that kind of flexibility, but also to keep it strong as well. A few little air bubbles, things that we can clean up. You can kind of see the mesh through some of the silicone, but we can paint over that, that's fine. And there's going to be a little bit of suction. And we're there. Looking pretty good, definitely needs a clean up. Now at the moment these look pretty messy and they don't really look like much, but we need to take off some of this flashing on the sides here and just give them a general clean up, and then we'll see what it looks like. pretty much there. I've done the painting on both the goggles and the strap for the back. Even though in the pictures it's pretty much black, I added a little bit of grey just to kind of make some of those details pop. I'd probably like to take a little more time in the detailing, but I literally need to have this ready by tomorrow. So this is like a 2-day project. The last thing I need to do is to fix the strap to the goggles themselves to make it one whole piece. To do that, I'm going to use a little bit more of the same silicone. I'm going to pigment it to black, and I'm going to use that to kind of glue them on. Ideally, I'd like to wait for the paint layer to completely cure, but we are kind of out of time, so I'm going to have to carefully figure out a way of sticking this on without ruining the paint job we've just done. For me, it's for you.
I got a funny feeling. I know exactly what it is. It's the Riddick goggles.